Manx Radio's Update with Beth Espy.
Fastamai, good evening. Welcome to Update, your daily roundup of what's been happening on the Isle of Man today. In the next half hour, warnings from Manx Care about what might happen to frontline services in a bid to reduce the body's overspend. 2 significant planning applications in the north and west have been given the go-ahead today. And also tonight, how a dinosaur with tiny arms has been making a big impact on Douglas Promenade. And could tonight be the night you get that perfect photograph of the Northern Lights? All that, plus we'll keep an eye on the travel situation as well. And as ever, we'd love to hear from you. You can text 166 177 or email studio@manxradio.com. First, Chanel has a roundup of the main evening news for us.
Some frontline Manx Care health services could be reduced over a 6-month period in a bid to reduce a £16.8 million overspend. Speaking to BBC Isle of Man, Teresa Cope said the body was submitting short-term plans to the Department of Health and Social Care to reduce an estimated shortfall this financial year. Plans for 92 new homes in Peel have been approved. Property developer Dandara has been given the green light, subject to a legal agreement, to build an estate on land adjacent to Peel Golf Course and Castleview Nursing Home. And an unofficial record's been set on the Isle of Man for the largest T-Rex race in 63 million years. Expedition Limitless hosted a T-Rex Thunder Run on Saturday in aid of Manx Mencap. In international news, former BBC newsreader Hugh Edwards has been spared jail after admitting accessing indecent images of children as young as 7. The 63-year-old was sent 41 illegal images by convicted paedophile Alex Williams. Moving on, the man suspected of trying to assassinate Donald Trump has appeared in court in Florida. Ryan Routh was shackled and wearing a blue jumpsuit. And the Met Office says the Northern Lights may be visible over parts of the UK tonight and early tomorrow morning. They're most likely to be seen in Scotland, Northern Ireland, and northern areas of England and Wales, and even on the Isle of Man. Do you want to know where you can locate them? Find out during Update. That's all for now. For the latest, go to manxradio.com or follow us on social media.
Thank you very much indeed, Chanel. Well, let's turn to that all-important weather forecast for tonight then. It is going to be dry and sunny and clear skies this evening and tonight. Light winds, minimum temperatures around 9 Celsius. And then looking ahead to tomorrow, again, fine and sunny, a light southeast wind. Top temperatures are going to be 18 Celsius by the afternoon. And the good news, fine and settled for the rest of the week. Warm in the afternoons, a little bit chilly in the morning, but I think we can just about cope with that. Sunset this evening will be at 7:31. Sunrise tomorrow morning, 6:56.
Manx Glass and Glazing can supply and install single, double and triple glazing. Call 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate.
If you run a small business or just need more room in the back, Philshaw Vehicles has the perfect van or light commercial for all your needs and can sort out any finance. Based in the Tremode Estate, view philshawvehicles.im or call 49 51 49.
A great night's sleep got even better with Zed's Bedding Store. From quality Bell-Dorm bed linen and mattress protectors, fleece and woven throws to luxury duvets from the fine bedding company. Zed's Bedding Ramsey, next to Isle of Man Bank.
SMS Trading, new and second-hand furniture, from flat pack to fully built. See our range at Unit 24, Gladstone Park, Ramsey. All-island delivery and man in a van service available. Call SMS Trading on 315 151 or find SMS Trading on Facebook.
Visit Ramsey Craft Centre at Church Walk St Paul Square for beautiful yarns, fabrics, buttons, craft kits, patterns, in fact all you need for your craft works. Open Monday to Saturday. Visit Ramsey Craft Centre St Paul Square or find us on Facebook for opening times, news and offers.
It's coming up to 4.5 minutes past 5 here on Update. So as we were hearing in the headlines there, some frontline Manx Care health services could be reduced over a 6-month period in a bid to reduce a £16.8 million overspend. Now, this has come from an interview with BBC Isle of Man, and Teresa Cope says the body was submitting short-term plans to the Department of Health to reduce that estimated shortfall this financial year. Amy Griffiths has the details.
In the interview, Teresa Cope said Manx Care was committed to its ambitious mandate, but the body's £346 million budget did not meet a recommended funding model suggested in 2021 when it was created. Ms Cope said while it would be for the DHSC to sign off on proposals to close the gap for this year, some of the things we are discussing are more unpalatable than we would ideally like. No further details of the cuts being proposed have been revealed. The organisation was created to take over from the DHSC as an arm's-length provider of health services following a review by former NHS Foundation Trust Chief Executive Sir Jonathan Michael. Ms Cope said if the recommended funding formula had been adopted at the time, Manx Care would have received £155 million of additional funding over 3 years, and we wouldn't be talking about an overspend or cuts to the services. The healthcare provider's budget was increased from £303 million in 2023 to more than £346 million in February's budget. The rise was partly funded by a 2% in the higher rate of personal income tax, which the Treasury said was designed to generate a £20 million boost to be ring-fenced for health spending. Ms Cope said while the current estimated overspend was £16.8 million, up to £12 million of savings were locked in for 2024-25 through a range of efficiency schemes such as managing the use of bank and agency workers. She said since its creation, Manx Care has made in excess of £10 million of savings every year, improved standards following formal assessments by external regulators, as well as covering increased drugs costs due to inflation and £30 million in pay awards. I understand concerns that there's a lot of money going into healthcare, but therein lies a bigger conversation politically about what the priorities are for the government and for that to translate into what government wants Manx Care to focus on, she said. Manx Care is doing its best, but our mandate is very ambitious. BBC Isle of Man has contacted the Isle of Man government for a response.
Amy Griffiths reporting, and we have also contacted the Department of Health for a response as well. 5:07.
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
You're listening to Update on Manx Radio. Plans for 92 new homes in Peel have been approved. The property developer Dandara has been given the green light, subject to a legal agreement, to build the estate on land adjacent to Peel Golf Course, Glenfaber Rise and Castle View Nursing Home. Well, Lewis Foster was at the meeting of the Planning Committee this morning. He joins me now. Lewis, this is not the first time we've heard about these particular plans this month, is it?
No, it's not. And in fact, the plans were put before members for a vote on the 2nd of September. However, a vote was deferred until today so that the Planning Committee could undertake a site visit. And if you're wondering what this development entails, this marks what they're calling Phase 2 of Dandara's plans for the west of the island and includes a mix of 2, 3, 4 and 5 bed properties. 23 of the homes will be classed as affordable. Now, members of the Planning Committee were once again taken through a slideshow of the plans and statements were heard from the applicant and objectors.
And I think it's fair to say this is a controversial development. There have been a number of objectors, haven't there?
Yeah, concerns have been raised about what impact the plans would have on the town's sewage infrastructure and capacity at schools and GPs, that sort of thing. And members were told Peel Cloth Workers School, for example, has been over capacity since 2017. And even earlier this year, plans for temporary classrooms at QE2 High School were approved. One objector, Sharon Lambert, told the Planning Committee that a large contingent in Peel do not want the development to go ahead and pleaded with the area's MHKs to try and put a stop to the plans. Glenfaber and Peel MHK Kate Law Brennan had submitted her views on this plan, very much against the development going ahead.
So how has the applicant responded then?
Well, Dandara's representative addressed those concerns but argued public services should respond to growth, not the other way around. On sewage, he explained how a temporary sewage plant on the site would not add to the quantity of raw sewage being pumped out into Peel Bay currently, because all the sewage from the housing estate would be treated at that temporary site before it made it to the system. Plans for a permanent sewage treatment plant in Peel, as we know, have been approved, which any future development on the site would connect to, but an appeal has been lodged. The applicant confirmed the developer would be responsible for the maintenance of the temporary site and cover the costs of connection to the main system.
So, as you say then, these plans recommended for approval subject to a legal agreement. How did the voting go?
3 members of the planning committee voted for the development to go ahead, 2 voted against. Now, as we know, legal agreements can usually take several months to come together, and there are several conditions attached to this application, so that won't be a straightforward process. And as Manx Utilities will be well aware with its plans for that sewage treatment works, there is now a 3-week window for appeals to be submitted.
Lewis, thank you very much indeed. 5:10, and in more planning news, approval has also been given in principle for 7.38 hectares of land adjacent to Pool Dewey in Ramsey to be developed. The planning committee agreed unanimously to this application again this morning, despite a number of objections from Ramsey residents. Local democracy reporter Emma Draper has the details.
It's been a controversial application for people in Ramsey, which has led to protests and petitions from residents. Reasons for objection included concerns around flooding, a lack of ecological and arborist reports, and claims the plans go against the island's biosphere status. However, the committee today said once the full application was received, a decision could be made accordingly if it's acceptable. Tony Lloyd-Davis, representing developer Blythe Church Investments, said the Spine Road would be prepared for a flood and the site was currently zoned for development. Interested party status was not given to any of the residents who submitted late objections, but a number of conditions were changed. Previously, an application was made on the site for 200 houses, open spaces and a pub, which were refused by the committee. Ramsey commissioners were in support of the first application, but agreed to submit no comment to the new proposal. The land was also subject to debate in the draft North and West Area Plan public inquiry, where the Cabinet Office said due to flooding risks, it wouldn't consider zoning the land for residential use in the plan at all. The approval in principle means that only the land in the application can be developed, but there are no specific details about what is planned.
Emma Draper reporting. 5:11. Let's turn our attention to business brought to you by Ramsey Crookall. And the steam packet companies announced today that from now on, passengers are going to be able to book offer fares right up to the point of departure, but it will still be subject to availability. Now, they say this change comes as part of their ongoing commitment to improving customer service, and it's a response to some passenger comments. It follows input from a recent island-wide survey, and they've decided to remove the 24-hour booking restriction for foot passengers and the 48-hour restriction for vehicles. The steam packet says they remain committed to acting on feedback and promise further updates and improvements will be announced in due course. Well, let's turn our attention to the stock market report brought to us by Ramsey Crookall. And UK and European stocks were mixed today as investors prepared for a bumper week of interest rate decisions, both from the US, the Federal Reserve there, and the Bank of England as well. The US dollar fell to its lowest level in nearly 9 months against the Japanese yen after media reports once again fueled speculation the Fed Reserve could deliver a super-sized 50 basis point interest rate cut at that policy meeting this week. Oil prices rose as continuing disruption to US Gulf oil infrastructure balanced persistent demand concerns after a fresh round of Chinese data. And gold prices charged to a record high as a weaker dollar and the prospects of aggressive US monetary policy easing boosted non-yielding bullion's appeal. Well, the commodities, gold up 0.09% at $2,580. Brent up 0.39% at $72.37. At the close, the FTSE 100 was up 0.06% at 8,278. And a short time ago, the Dow Jones was up 2.27% at 41,503. And the Nasdaq was off a short time ago, 0.68% at 17,563.
I'm running late again. Do you know where I put my car keys?
In the fridge.
Where's my phone?
Under the dog basket.
Bye.
You haven't forgotten that we're seeing Ramsey Crookall later?
Oh, no, of course not. 5 p.m, is it?
3:15.
I'll be there.
Life is busy. That's why Ramsey Crookall's team takes time to help you make a mindful investment decision, considering all the options, giving you full control of your financial future. Less stress, more assurance.
Forgot to put my shoes on.
See how we can make your money work for you. Call 717171 or visit ramseycrookall.com. Licensed and regulated by the Isle of Man Financial Services Authority.
Manx Radio Travel, driven by Quayside Tyres and Service Centre.
OK, all good down at the steam packet this evening. The airport, there have been a few little delays today. We're not aware of any issues, but it might be just worth checking the departures and arrivals board if you're expecting someone or if you're travelling this evening. And then on the roads, again, we're not aware of anything specific. If you see anything, 166 177, or you can email studio@manxradio.com. Just remember, there are those temporary lights replacing the main lights at the Brown Bobby 24 hours a day. And in Braddon, this is one to watch out for tomorrow. The Cool Road is closed every day from 9:30 until 3:30. That is for road stud application.
Ask how you can spread the cost interest-free at Quayside.
It is 5:15. One of the key figures in the Manx union movement in this century has died. Eric Holmes was 66. Before his retirement, he had led the Union Unite on the island. John Moss reports.
Eric Holmes was the public voice of the Unite Union on the island when he took over as Manx Regional Officer in 2013, though he was never backward in coming forward when he saw his 3,500 plus members' working rights threatened. He was quick to point out that the majority of those members didn't need to turn to industrial action.
The vast majority of people will never see them. But if you do need us, you can guarantee we're there.
You are a proselytising organisation. You do go out looking for members, do you? Because I think you got your sights set on the Prospect Union, which has 2,400.
We are the workers' union. I mean, I listened to Mick the other day. He was saying that Prospect...
McHugh.
Yeah, he was sort of saying that Prospect have members across. Well, we have members across, but our base background was the workers' union, going back to 1917-18. So as such, and then the Transport and General Workers in 1922 in the UK, of which we became a part, until we amalgamated and joined with Amicus and became Unite. So we've been there for a long, long time.
Who's the toughest negotiator you've had? I would suggest it's Ian Longworth, isn't it?
Ian Longworth was brought over here to do a job, and he's done that job.
What's your view of him?
He's a tough negotiator. I have a professional respect for the man.
In 2018, he stepped down from the role with health problems. The legacy of working with asbestos in a shipyard as an apprentice.
It feels selfish to me because that's something that I've not normally done. It's normally fighting for others, but now it's time for me, I think, to sit back. I can't give the role the full attention that it needs. There's too many other things ongoing in my mind, and it's unfair to stay on. Step aside, bring someone else in and let them continue the fight. And I'll just advise. I'll still be in the background to advise for as long as I can.
That's Eric Holmes, who's speaking in 2018 on his retirement, and John Moss reporting on his death at the age of 66. 17 minutes past 5. OK, so if the stars align, do remember that you heard this here first. The Northern Lights could be putting in an appearance tonight. Local astronomer Howard Parkin is the man in the know. He joins us live now. Actually joins us live, Howard, from your back garden, basking in the sunshine.
Indeed, it's absolutely wonderful at the moment. So let's hope it stays like this.
Fingers crossed, eh? OK, so how likely is it to happen tonight?
Well, we've been so lucky in the last few months, really, because there's a lot of activity on the sun. That's what causes the aurora. There's been another giant eruption, a coronal mass ejection on the sun, which means that the incoming solar radiation, which isn't harmful, hits our upper atmosphere, causes atoms to be excited, and it emits light in various colours, which is what we see. So it sounds technical, but it just can be quite spectacular. And as I said, we've been so lucky in the last few months. And it's likely to continue. This is about the fourth or fifth time we've had the decent aurora this year. And it's likely to continue right through till the end of next year, because we aren't sure when the peak of solar activity will be. It's been a dramatic amount of activity on the sun. And obviously, we keep getting these aurora forecasts, and keep looking. Just look to anywhere on the northern horizon. Look on the northern horizon around midnight, around 11 o'clock midnight, the later the better. And if you see something and it develops, then use your iPhone or whatever iPhone or phone you've got as a camera. And if you see any colours, green colours in particular, keep watching. It might become visible with the naked eye, but you do capture it much better with on a camera.
I was going to say, Howard, the photographs that we see are just amazing. And I do wonder whether it is as good with the naked eye. Maybe sometimes people think, oh, I missed it.
No, it is much better with the camera. The camera has the ability to attract more light, so you get the colour variation. It's a common thing you get with any photographic device. But, I mean, the one in May in particular, beginning in May, 10th of May, we had a dramatic one where the colours were seen, I won't say vividly by people, but certainly were seen with the naked eye. We had the reds and the greens. And because we're a bit lower down in our latitude, we see over the top of the aurora, the greens are more prominent in the Arctic regions. We tend to see the reds above, which are quite rare. But of course, when you get this intense solar activity, we tend to see the reds. So the camera's the best. Just a simple iPhone. All you need to do is just take a picture. I keep saying iPhone, so I'm not advertising. Hey, you just need to take a simple picture. Long exposure as you can get, but the camera will do that automatically. And if it's green, then there's definitely aurora there, and it could well develop. And who knows, it could develop quite dramatically, because the amount of activity on the sun is really quite tremendous. And the forecast for the solar maximum this year was very low. It's been dropping over the last sort of 40, 50 years. But it's defied all the logic and all the reasons. And this year, or this particular solar peak, which is every 11 years, by the way, this peak is going to go down as one of the most dramatic we've seen for some time.
Wonderful. Howard, we have every single thing crossed. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And as ever, if you capture one of those fantastic photographs tonight, if you stay up that late, then do let us know. Darren Timpson's here now with today's sport. Darren?
Ravens manager Paul Jones has praised the impact of inexperienced players coming into the side after Tom Creer's assist helped FC Isle of Man extend their unbeaten run. The Manx side are now 5 games unbeaten after their 2-0 win over Cheadle Town on Saturday. However, Jones has highlighted what the younger players need to do to stay in the side.
The lads who have done well over the years are probably, 7, 8 out of 10 more often than not. That's what the young lads need to get to, is be brilliant for the 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes you're on the pitch. If you get a start, go and be 7, 8 out of 10, but then make sure the next time you're on the pitch, that's what you get. And that's the youth thing, isn't it? And the inexperienced thing is if they can show that consistency over time, the established players might struggle to get their shirt back. Happy with the result, but not necessarily the performance. I thought we, in certain areas of the game, we weren't as good as we have been, but we dug it out, and I thought we got the 2 goals early on because we set the traps we knew we'd be able to set and cause them some problems, and we did that. And then I thought we just backed away from it a little bit and didn't quite stay on the front foot like we wanted to. But we had some really good opportunities second half, I think, on the counter attack, and we just a little bit of lack of quality, really. Not because the players don't have the quality. We just, I said in the club media interview, it's been a tough 10 days really, and the Bury game and the Ramsbottom game took an awful lot out of everybody. And to come here and then to think we were going to go and play fluid, fantastic football with high energy for 90 minutes, it was never really realistic. So today was about doing a job, which I thought we did really well. We want to come and entertain the home fans and play free-flowing attacking football. That's what we want to do, but it's not possible all of the time, and today it was less possible because of how the group were in terms of the legs and their minds. And considering all of that, I think Cheadle play good football, and we did chase the ball a little bit at times, but we also made sure that they didn't get too many high-value opportunities to score a goal, and when they did, we had some really good defending again. So yeah, a clean sheet, a home win, as you say. It's 5 games unbeaten now. We'll take that. So it's progress.
Ravens boss Paul Jones. Manx tennis star Billy Harris and Great Britain have been eliminated from the Davis Cup after defeats in their final group matches. Team GB finished third in Group D below Canada and Argentina as both countries progressed to the knockout stages. Harris was left out of the home nation's final game against Canada, which saw Jack Draper and Dan Evans suffer defeats in the singles games. In the MFX end-to-end walk, both members of Team Morgan finished in the top 2 with a 30-minute lead. Callum Gaughan and Dean Morgan finished first and second respectively, separated by just over 3 minutes. Meanwhile, Lorna Gleave won the women's category. Cycling Club Isle of Man and women's teams took to the Bowman Trophy and Curlew Cup respectively this weekend. Marcus Christie finished highest of the men in 31st place, while Callum Salisbury finished in 50th. For the women, Ruby Oakes finished 21st, while Sophie Smith wasn't too far behind in 28th. Elsewhere, in the cycling, Manx riders Sam Brand and Ben Swift competed at GP Montreal on Sunday. However, both riders did not finish the race.
Thank you very much indeed, Darren, with a look at today's Update Sport. Do remember you can keep up to date exactly with what's happening on the Manx Radio Sports page. We've also got the dedicated Facebook page as well, so do give that a follow, and you can see all your latest sports news. So it's 23 minutes past 5. Honestly, this is absolutely brilliant. And if you've seen any of the videos or the photographs of this, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, because an unofficial record has been set on the Isle of Man for the largest T-Rex race in 63 million years. Now, this was Expedition Limitless hosting a T-Rex Thunder Run on Saturday, and it's all in aid of Manx Mencap, and they raised, just with this event, an incredible £12,000. And actually, overall, they have raised more than £100,000 for the charity to date, and Manx Mencap works to improve opportunities for those with learning difficulties. So, as I say, some incredible photographs and videos of all these T-Rexes along Douglas Prom, and actually my favourite thing was the fact that when it was finished, you saw a lot of the T-Rexes going through Strand Street as well. But Martin Malone is the event organiser, and he's been catching up with Chanel today.
It was amazing. We had about 510 people dressed as T-Rexes and probably about 100 children as well, all running along Douglas Prom to raise money for Manx Mencap, and it was an amazing event.
And I think the big question for everyone is, have we set that unofficial record?
We certainly have, yes. We have set an unofficial world record for the largest T-Rex race in 63 million years.
Did you expect that turnout and the reaction that it's garnered over the weekend?
We didn't actually. You know, it just started with a joke, really, a couple of years ago. What's funnier than one person dressed as a T-Rex? And somebody said 500, and that's where the idea came from. And then we developed it. But, you know, up to a couple of weeks ago, when entries were a little bit slow, it suddenly just started to gather momentum. There was so much interest. Everybody started asking questions about it. And in the end, we ran out of suits. Luckily, we had some spares, but we had people on the start line looking to buy suits to take part. And it sort of went viral, and it did exactly what we wanted it to do. We wanted to raise the profile of Manx Mencap and the fantastic work they do on the island. But the support we had from the Manx public, if anybody was on the prom, they will have seen hundreds and hundreds of people lining the prom, watching the race go by. The weather held up. We didn't have rain. We had a little bit of wind, which made it a bit more interesting. It was just phenomenal. And what a great atmosphere on Douglas Prom.
Now, it may be too soon to ask, but is there a possibility of another event like this maybe in the future, in the years to come?
Well, yes, the answer is we are currently considering doing something similar again, potentially going bigger. We have had lots of people contact us to ask if this is going to be an annual event and could we do it again? And I think the answer is yes. I think we are going to try and do it again, but we'll spend a little bit more time on it this time, be a little bit more creative with the day itself, maybe make it into a family fun day, some events surrounding it, and again, do something special for the Isle of Man, something that just gets people outdoors, laughing, having some fun. You know, the world is, there's a lot of sadness in the world right now, and to see the smiles on people's faces on Saturday, why would you not want to do that again?
Oh, absolutely. Martin Malone there, the organiser of that T-Rex Thunder Run, which was along Douglas Promenade. As I say, if you go to the Manx Radio Facebook page, there's a fantastic video that we were able to share on Saturday, which shows more than 500 people dressed as a T-Rex. I mean, who knew that there were that many T-Rex costumes available? But fantastic, and raising £12,000 as well. Just a great thing to do. Well, that's pretty much all we have time for on Update. We have just had a message in, though, just asking to be reminded about where the best place might be to go and watch those Northern Lights if they do put in an appearance tonight. I don't want to be held responsible in case they don't, but we have everything crossed and the skies do look like they are going to be clear. As we heard from Howard Parkin, basking in the sunshine in his garden, he said if you look to the northern horizon, that should give you the best chance of seeing them, and get your phone camera out, because some of those photographs that we've seen over the past few months have been absolutely incredible. Well, that is all from us for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you missed any of tonight's programme, you will be able to download it shortly as a podcast from your favourite podcast provider. Thank you very much to the Manx Radio News team for putting together all tonight's news, and you can contact us directly, newsroom@manxradio.com, if there's something happening in your area that you would like us to know about. Coming up next on Manx Radio, it's Island Life, and it's all about the Tell Me project. Then Chris Kinley will be here live from 6 with the greatest hits before it's time for Brass with Ian Cottier, and then Dave Moore will round off your Monday with After Hours from 10 p.m. Whatever you're doing this evening, have a lovely one, especially if you can get out there and enjoy some of that sunshine. I'll see you back here at 5 p.m. tomorrow.